Hey everybody, welcome here to Sports Talk Rodeo. I'm Charlie McKellips, and Tex Holiday will be joining us here in just a second as we get ready to talk about rodeo sports, and we're going to rehash the Wrangler National Finals Rodeo 2020. Hey everybody, it's myself, Charlie McKellips. Say hello to Santa. I see Santa.
There we go.
There you go. Tex,
Hey,
how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing super. How are you doing, Charlie McKellips?
Man, I'm great. I'm great. We're here at the Good Time Studios at the Charlie's Hacienda.
Yes, sir.
The Hacienda.
Exclamation point.
Yes, with the exclamation point. We do not want to forget that. That's right. We're at Charlie's Hacienda with the exclamation point added on in there right now.
And you dressed up for the occasion tonight, Charlie.
Well, you did too. You're right in the season, so that's good.
I try to be. Do you believe in Santa?
Well, of course I do. I had somebody ask me last night, do I believe in Santa? Well, kind of stupid question is that?
Have you been a good little boy?
I try to be.
We'll save that for later in the show.
Yes, we'll get there. We'll get there. So,
hey, Charlie, I got something for you tonight.
Oh, what'd you bring us, Tex?
Look at this. It wouldn't be a show without a little tang.
You have the tang.
Yeah, I mixed some up too.
I brought me some sparkling ice flavored water, coconut pineapple. It's pretty good stuff.
Sounds horrible.
No.
This is good, Charlie. This is really good.
Well, they made it in the space program, so that's what's pretty cool about it.
Good enough for NASA, good enough for Tex, and I buy in the bulk, baby. It's cheaper that way.
That's right. It gets people to the moon and back, and that's what we want to see.
Absolutely.
What do you think of the new studio?
It looks great. You've upgraded. You have upgraded.
Upgraded a little bit. We've we kind of got some. I'm gonna decorate a little bit more, but yeah.
Ooh. You better be careful. Someone might think that there might be a lady behind the scenes, that's helping with this decoration stuff.
Hey, I just kind of winged it,
Well, you're a good winger, that's for sure.
Kind of threw it together. I got me a new desk. I have plenty of room for everything. I was able to create a new webcam type setup, so it's pretty good.
Man, it feels good to be back, Charlie. It's been a while.
It has. And as I mentioned, we're kind of changing things up a little bit. We've done the analysis of country music, and I'm not saying we're done with that at all by any means.
Yeah.
But I think the fans have spoken, and they want to see more of what they can relate to as far as the rodeo world goes. And we both work in rodeo, and you're a rodeo clown, and I'm a rodeo announcer. And what better to talk about sports talk and rodeo? So kind of like Sports Talk Radio, but this is Sports Talk Rodeo.
I love it. You're a catchy man.
Hey, I just doing what I can. And it's a slow week in rodeo right now. There's really nothing going on until first of the year. And of course, we normally would be getting ready for Kansas City about this time, and we're not doing that. It's till April. So thanks to to COVID. So
I was going to say, Charlie, can you elaborate for our fans out there? The New Year's Eve Stampede Rodeo, one of my favorite events of the entire year. And, I look forward to it every year. We've got a ton of cowboys and cowgirls that come out. Great competition, awesome livestock. I mean, it just saddens me that we're not going to have 3 days of fun-filled roping, riding, and wrangling, horsing, and clowning around.
No, it's going to be sad. It's going to be a little bit different. This is the first time in I can think of probably 21 years that I am not going to be at a rodeo on New Year's weekend at all.
Yeah.
And, it's 2020. So what do you expect? So as far as that goes, kind of like the text message you sent me earlier today.
Yes, definitely. Yeah.
I can't say it here on Facebook. Yeah. I don't want to get kicked off of Facebook and get harassed for it. So But Tex sent me
Yeah, just for all
funny
the
tweet.
viewers out there, it was hey, screw off 2020. We'll just
Yeah,
put it
yeah.
at that for the
That's
PG-13ish.
the censored way of putting it. That's the censored way of putting it.
Yes.
So that's kind of the thing is and Bobby Bradley says Mayor Lucas is a Karen. You know, so, um, boy, it's good to have Bobby back. It's good to have him tuning in here as well, and it's good to see everybody back here on Facebook Live. And
Yeah.
actually, and did you know we're actually streaming from 2 different spots on Facebook right now? And
Get out of town.
I need to share this to your page as well, so
Absolutely.
that way your fans and your friends and your family can tune in on that as well. And I'm trying to get to it right now. My Facebook is not showing it up on my phone.
You know, and with the algorithms, I'm sure all 8 people on my Facebook page will enjoy it.
Right, right. I'm sharing it to you right now,
All
and
right, that's how you do it.
that way we have this done and have this out of the way. I'm a really poor moderator right now, and
That's all right.
I apologize that I did not have this taken care of here on Sports Talk Rodeo. All right, it's on your wall now. So I shared it to your wall.
Okay, perfect. Yeah.
So that way it's there.
Awesome.
And as we say, we're here today. And if you remember, I talked about it a little bit earlier this week in a Facebook post. We're going to touch on some issues. You know, we're a week over the NFR, so we've had a chance to recover.
Yes.
And did you get to watch any of it? I know you kind of had some TV issues. Uh-oh. Tex is frozen up. I shouldn't have moved my phone. There you are. So did you get a chance to watch any of it?
You know what? I had to watch the highlights because here in the trailer park, I don't get good streaming services. And I didn't want to fork out like a kidney to pay for the package. And that's something I wanted to talk about tonight, too, that I'm a little perturbed with the way this all went down for all of us that couldn't make the trip down to Dallas-Fort Worth, Arlington, whatever we want to call it.
And that was something actually I was going to bring up as well tonight, too. What is the Cowboy Channel? And I think we'll go and start with that tonight because I think
absolutely.
I think the Cowboy Channel is a great thing for rodeo. I mean, honest to God, seriousness, truth, I think it's great. What RFD TV and the Cowboy Channel and that whole media group that they want to do with our sport is absolutely wonderful. What they have done so far in their first year is great. It is great. The thing that is that I have the problem with about it, you know, if you want to get subscribers on the Cowboy Channel Plus app, right now is the best time than ever right now because people they are done with cable, they're done with satellite. They're not going to go spend $70. It's absolutely ridiculous that you got to get the highest tiered package on DirecTV to get the Cowboy Channel. And the Cowboy Channel don't even get any of that. I mean, they say on the commercials, they don't even get any of that. So the other option is Cowboy Channel. I have said for years that the Cowboy Channel, or that there needs to be an app come along that will televise rodeos on demand, stream them on the internet, and that way you can see them in all different aspects of it in different rodeos. I always said this is what we need. The WWE, I don't know if or the WWE Network. That's what I was getting at. The WWE Network, and WWE Network is $10 a month. You get WrestleMania for $10 a month. That's only $120. It's $120 a year. And of course, WWE Network, they're going to put their biggest event on the WWE Network app on that for that $10. I put okay, there you go, Bobby. I put the phone in the window a little bit better. So that's what I'm getting at. If you're going to have a subscription service, you're going to show rodeo, and you want to get the most viewers that you can, then you need to put it. You've got to put it on the Cowboy Channel Plus app and not charge that extra $75.
Absolutely.
I understand what they're trying to do. I understand they're spending a lot of money, but they got to put that on for $10 a month.
But here's the thing though, is that how many people were just like me? They didn't want to fork out $75 just for this event. Because I was really wanting to watch the rodeo every night. But here I'm going to fork out $75 and then I'm done. And I got to remember to turn it off at the end of the month so I don't keep getting billed every month after that. Okay. So I know there was a free deal. You could just, it canceled anytime you wanted to. But if you're wanting to get more people involved in it, knock the price down, increase your volume, and then after years 3 or 4, then start jacking up the price like a lot of businesses do. But get that hook, line, and sinker. Get us excited about rodeo. Let us look forward to watching it every night from the comfort of our home. And yes, I'll be back next year. Come on now.
And that's it. And I tell you, if you didn't have to pay $75 up front, you'd have got on the app. If you really ought to look into it, because if you like rodeos, and I'm talking to everyone out there in Facebook land as well, if you like rodeos, I'm telling you, you got to get the Cowboy Channel Plus app. You can see rodeos that you may have never seen before. I mean, and that's what I'm talking about. You know, and that's what's so great about it. It's more than just the National Finals Rodeo. And I feel like Cowboy Channel, they have an opportunity here to really get into people's houses, to get on their phones, get on their tablets, get on their Sling TVs, and really make an impact. And then that would give incentive as well to the cable and satellite companies to run Cowboy Channel on their channels. But it's like I didn't get to go to Stockton, Missouri had a rodeo. You know, it's just south of El Dorado Springs. They had a rodeo back in October. I couldn't go. I was out of town. I got to come home. I got to watch 2 nights of the Stockton, Missouri rodeo. I mean, it's not a big pro rodeo. It was a new rodeo. I was able to see it on the Cowboy Channel. I mean, a year ago, we couldn't do that stuff like that.
Yep.
I mean,
I agree.
And Jesse Knutson chimes in right here. Is the $7.50 a round. It is way cheaper than a ticket. Plus, you get December through March of the app. It's $10 a month for rodeos. I get what he's saying. I totally agree there. It's not much when you break it down around. I'm just saying you don't charge. I just don't think they should charge extra for the marquee event in your sport. That's what I'm saying. And that's what I'm getting at. I think when you're trying to get subscribers, I think you don't want to do anything to try to turn that away. And I see both sides. And that's why I say people need to subscribe to the Cowboy Channel, because I think people need to subscribe to it, because this is how you support rodeo. I know a lot of people like the National Finals Rodeo in Texas. Well, guess what? If you want the National Finals Rodeo in Texas, you need to subscribe to the Cowboy Channel, because that is going to be the key to making it viable and sustainable somewhere other than Las Vegas. And we all know how I feel. I think it should stay in Las Vegas. But if it does move, it's going to be based upon the success of the Cowboy Channel, the Cowboy Channel app. And and right, Jesse said $7.50 a round's not bad. It is cheaper than a ticket, and you do get the app for free from December through March. So I mean, you're getting it a lot cheaper. Yeah,
you are. But what about these people that are kind of in the middle, though, where they're interested in rodeo, they don't know a lot about rodeo? They're gonna see that $75 and they're gonna be out the door.
Right.
That's the people I think that we're gonna lose. And as you know, you and I are talking earlier in the week about rodeo taking this big transition and becoming a bigger sport. And do they want to be big? You know, does rodeo want to be big? Because there's a lot of attention right now. The last 2 weeks with rodeo has been awesome. And it's like, what about these people that are on that borderline? They're not going to spend $75, especially during a pandemic right now, you know, and Christmas coming up. That's a tough part of the year to say, hey, I'm going to spend $75 and we're not going to give a couple gifts for the kids.
Well, and I mean, I guess only one other option is devil's advocate here. You could always put that as a $75 gift to somebody to see the national finals.
Absolutely.
But what I mean, like I said, WWE don't charge, and Jesse, as he commented on that, he's a bigger wrestling fan than I am. And we both tune into WWE. They don't charge an extra $75 to watch WrestleMania on the WWE network. I mean, you get that in your subscription. Heck, you get it for free. You get them 1 month free trial with WWE Network. And no, I see what like Jesse says right there. That's $7.50 a round. That's not bad. It is cheaper than a ticket. Not. It's cheaper than $25 I paid at Texas Live to go watch it, to go watch the watch party. Another thing that you don't have to pay for in Vegas. I'm just saying. And like Jesse's watching TLC right now. That's another pay-per-view, which is a fun pay-per-view to watch on WWE Network. And it's only, I think it's $10 or $12 a month. I don't remember exactly what it is, but that's that's all I'm saying is, I think people really need to get behind the Cowboy Channel Plus app, and I'm going to beat it like a dead horse, man. we got to do it. We got to have it. And if, like I said, I think for the sport to grow, it's nothing but a win-win situation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's amazing how many people love the National Finals Rodeo. You have people coming out of it's like when the lights go out and the cockroaches come out. Everybody's kind of coming out for the National Finals Rodeo. I talked to a person 2.5 weeks ago, actually, and she said it's the first year her and her husband have not been in over 20 years to the National Finals Rodeo. And, and it's just like you got that tradition, that big, strong tradition. And anything we can do right now to help get people involved and get them interested, I'm all for it. That's for sure.
And that's why, and that's why right now you got to, like I said, again, Cowboy Channel Plus app. Another option is if you don't want, let's say you don't, you don't want to pay for Cowboy Channel Plus app. What I did, and to answer Bobby Bradley's question, because he just chimed in real quick, can you stream the Cowboy Channel off the internet, or do you have to have satellite? No. If you get the Cowboy Channel Plus app, you can get it. You can stream it anywhere. That you can get it on. Like I have a Roku stick. You can stream it on Roku. You can stream it on your tablet. You can stream it on your cell phone. I think an Amazon Fire Stick. It's awesome. Excuse me.
Mm-hmm.
If you have like a a smart TV, I think you can put it on a smart TV. So no, that's the nice thing about Cowboy Channel Plus. I'll try to put a link to it later, to that way if you want to go and subscribe to it, you can do so, and that way you can get that done. So and check it out, because like I said, circuit finals rodeos, it's all on the Cowboy Channel. If they got a video screen at that rodeo, it's probably going to be on Cowboy Channel.
Mm-hmm.
And if you and the other cool thing is, let's say you're a cord cutter and you don't want to subscribe, all you got to do is get on Sling TV. It's $35 a month. You get the blue or the orange plan. I get the orange. I think I get the orange plan. I get the plan with the NFL Network because I like football. And then you get the Heartland package with it, and that gives you RFD. It gives you Ride TV, and then I know it gives you Cowboy Channel. So for $40 a month, you can get about like a handful of channels that you can have, and you can find something on. It has USA, TNT, TBS. So like I watch wrestling, so I get all those channels, so I can watch AEW or WWE, and watch that. And then I can still watch Cowboy Channel, and that's actually how I watch the National Finals Rodeo. And Josh Foster is chiming in right now. I don't know if you can see the comments, Tex. It's way cheaper than a adult website.
Very true. And to do a little foreshadowing here, Charlie McKellips, is if you get the RFD TV, the channel that comes with your package, you might be able to see a fella, one of the two of us, on TV later on in 2021, riding his trusty steed. Just kind of giving you a heads up later on in the year.
Oh, a little tease right there.
Yeah, we got a little teaser for later on, but there's a pretty good chance you might see one of the two of us on TV riding his trusty steed coming up on one of the television shows. Just throwing it out there. True story.
Right. Good to know. I did not realize that.
Yeah.
You never know. So, but yeah, no, and like I said, people like the National Finals Rodeo in Texas.
Yeah.
Cowboy Channel was a big part of bringing it to Arlington and Fort Worth area. And like I said, I'm all about supporting rodeo. I like supporting our sponsors. Heck, I drive a Ram truck partly for that reason, because of what Ram has done for rodeo over the years. And I think that's always good to support the people who support us. And in the big picture, because it affects, even though I do mainly, we'd mainly do the smaller rodeos. That's mostly what we do. The bigger rodeos, it's a trickle down effect to everything. The more popular rodeo is, the more popular our URA rodeos are, the ACRA, IPRA. It doesn't matter what they are. PBR. It all helps. It all helps. So, so that's kind of that's what I'm getting at there. So
the next thing
I was getting to was, and I mentioned this to you, Shad Mayfield won $198,000 in the year 2020. And he did it mostly at the beginning of the year before COVID shut everything down.
Yeah.
And there has been people on Facebook saying that Shad Mayfield should not be world champion.
All right.
I
Let
know.
the discussions begin. Let the discussions begin.
Let the discussions begin. So, is Shad Mayfield a legit world champion tie down roper?
Absolutely, hands down. I, yeah, hands down.
I mean, because these people are going on Facebook, and it's a very vocal minority that said things like this, and but the national finals rodeo, in my opinion, that doesn't make or break your season. I mean, it can make or break your season, but that doesn't
Yeah,
make the whole season. I mean, it's the money you won over the course of the year, and the national finals rodeo just happens to count a lot.
yeah.
And
I think that's the big problem, Charlie, is people are not educated on how the PRCA works and how the points accumulate throughout the season. Okay, I think from the layperson who's not involved in the rodeo business, they don't understand that it starts from the beginning of the season, and that the NFR is just an addition to. You know, I remember back in the day, I thought that everything you did up until the NFR now was in your pocketbook, but then when NFR, that's where we find out who your champions are, and that's not the case. I mean, we look at, so many people thought Jesse Pope had won the national. He's a number one guy in the world. Well,
right,
he won the average, right? Kind of like Shad. Shad didn't win the average at the NFR, but he's still the number one guy in the world because of the way rodeo's set up.
well, yeah, Shad is right,
Yes,
right.
Shad is. Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
yes. Just as a finals champion, of course, and won a lot of money there.
Yes, definitely. Yeah,
And
great year.
and this is the flip side of it, and this is what I was going to bring up about it was, if Corey Solomon come in 16th because one of the other tie down ropers got quarantined out for the week because of so he couldn't go. So Corey
Mhm.
Solomon moves up into that 15th position. He goes and wins a buttload of money. He ends up 5th in the world. He was 2 runs away from winning a world title. Very, very easily could have won a world title. So by saying that Shad Mayfield, if they didn't think he should be world champion, so what's the difference if Corey Solomon come in there and in the 15th spot and won a year-end title just by the money he won there at the National Finals Rodeo? It's
Correct.
no difference. Only difference is with the time of the year it is. I mean,
Yes.
all of them guys that won that big money, they had the same chances to win that money at the big rodeos that Shad did. They could have won the American. They could have won. I think it's San Antonio that he won money at. I don't understand why people come up with these ideas. And I actually thought I had a caller that was going to call in tonight, and they didn't. So and no, Ranger, I did not win the bull riding at the National Finals Rodeo.
It wasn't Dale Brisby either, was it?
No, it was not Del Brisby either. But
But I think it goes back to, once again, people they love rodeo, they're interested in rodeo, but not all of them know the ins and outs.
right,
And it's just, if they would have lowered the price for the whole Cowboy channel just for the NFR, maybe the announcers would have taught them that, and they could have learned that, hey, just
yeah,
because you win the NFR week doesn't mean you're the champion of the world. Doesn't
right,
mean that you're number one. It means that you have the average of the week, and there you go. Here's your pocketbook.
right.
And people who want to get all kind of bent out of shape about Shad Mayfield. Okay, it's athletics. These are pro athletes. Okay, you get an opportunity, and if someone went down with COVID and you get to bump up that time, that's your opportunity to shine. And sometimes you don't get second chances in that, and that's part of being a professional.
No,
You've got to perform when you have the opportunity.
yeah, and he had the opportunity earlier in the year, and he performed, and he come in
Yes, he
with
did.
160,000, I think he had when he come into the
Well,
season.
I think,
So I mean,
didn't you and I see him down at the formerly the Sprint Center
I
back with the
think he was
February?
there. Yeah, I think he did win some money there at Sprint Center, if I remember right.
Yeah,
Slept with him.
lightning fast hands.
Yes,
That guy's
the guy's
fast.
a hand. The guy's a hand.
And,
So
the thing of it is, too, mentally, he's got the professional mindset of a professional. Like he's on it mentally too. I mean, watching him was great. He had a rough
right.
go at the end, but early in the season, he did it when it needed to count.
He did, and I mean, he did, and I went back and looked at the results. I'm just gonna be honest with you. The guy hit a slump the second half of the summer. I know there was a lot of rodeos canceled, but he entered a lot of rodeos,
Yeah,
and he kind of, I'm not gonna say backdoor. I mean, he had that big lead, and I mean, he just didn't have that fall run, and I think part of it too probably is, rodeo is kind of funny. You're familiar with baseball. and you
Hmm.
get slumps. Rodeo is no different. I mean,
No.
it really ain't. And and I don't know what he drew and that sort of thing later in the summer. I like I said, I should have got the Cowboy Channel app sooner so I could watch more rodeos.
Yeah.
I probably should have went back and watched some more in the past. But anyhow, it's another story. But I'm just saying, the guy did what he needed to do to win a world title. He did it by a few $100, and it is what it is. But so I'm going to kind of segue into from this to my next point that I was making. Is pro rodeo ready for pro sports criticism though? Because the people that that the guys that made these, I'm gonna say it. They were ignorant comments that they made saying he wasn't a legit world champ. That was stupid. And if anybody's watching this and you think Shad Mayfield's not a legit world champ, please comment on there and we'll discuss it. But let's just face it. That's I mean, oops, we got the wrong one there. We'll get back to that one. As Bobby Bradley says, secret to success is to be when opportunities arise.
Yes.
Okay.
I agree. I agree.
That's very true. That's very true. But what I guess what I was getting at is these people, like I said, they made ignorant remarks on Facebook about Shad Mayfield. I think, it didn't make any sense. They had no validity to them. It was just ignorant. So what I'm segueing into is the responses to that, though. I couldn't believe it either. I mean, I think it was a dumb comment, but my God, don't think your guy is like free. You're not. I don't think anybody's free of criticism, and I think there's like a kind of a small town mentality to the sport that people are scared or people aren't scared. They don't like hearing criticism about one of their favorite cowboys or cowgirls.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. And I think a part of that is that a Patrick Mahomes, I've never met Patrick Mahomes. I go to Arrowhead Stadium, even with the way that the crowd is now, I'm not going to meet Patrick Mahomes. A lot of these professional, cowboys and cowgirls, we have an opportunity to interact with them, to meet them, to get autographs, take pictures. We get to know them more personally. And I mean, let's just be honest, the rodeo sport, it's a family, and I think that when you badmouth somebody, I know it just pisses me off.
It does.
Because we've got a connection and we're hanging out talking before, during, and after rodeos.
Right.
And that's just part of the sport. I can't do that with anybody from the St. Louis Cardinals, Kansas City Royals, Kansas City Chiefs. The list goes on and on. I don't know those guys.
Right.
So, but when you blast one of the guys I know, yeah, that's going to get under my knickers a little bit.
It's going to I mean, I understand. I mean, if it's somebody I know, I mean, it's like I've known Jess Pope since he was riding ponies. If somebody come on there and said, that, man, he shouldn't have been 85 points. He shouldn't have won the round, or whatever. Would I agree with it? No. But at the same time, they are professional athletes.
Correct.
And I think now we kind of, and what I'm getting at is I think rodeo and rodeo fans need to come to the, I'm trying to think of the right word for it. Come to the realization that rodeo is a pro sport and people are going to criticize our favorite guys and we're going to have to get used to it. I mean, it's just, you want to be a big league sport. You want rodeo cowboys to make big league money. They're going to have to face big league criticisms.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And the more these subscriptions go up for the Cowboy Channel, the more it's on television, the more people are watching, they're going to have their opinions. Right. And it's just part of it. And sometimes we're going to have to grow thicker skin.
And that's the thing is, and that's what I was getting at, So what I'm asking you, what do you think? Do you think pro rodeo fans are ready for the pro sports criticisms of pro rodeo?
That's a tough one. I mean, I think that the pro rodeo, I think we're ready to take it to that next level. I really do. But I think with any transition, there's going to be some anxiety and there's going to be some hurt feelings.
Right.
And it's going to take a while. I don't know that the fan base is ready yet to get throttled and have that armchair quarterback because, and we'll talk maybe a little bit later about the officials and how they were just getting raked through the coals online, for a while. What's that?
Yeah, and that's the other thing was, and I said that here in a little bit was the officials.
Yeah.
It's like, we're not all going to agree on everything. I mean, it's not going to happen, and
Yeah.
we're all going to agree. We're not all going to agree about rodeo, and I hate to
No.
say that, but and I think we're all going to have to realize that. Yeah, I know a lot of people that know Shad Mayfield.
Mm-hmm.
People are going to say things. We can't get hurt about it.
No.
You think
But
Shad
think about
Mayfield
this
cares
though.
what some 40-something-year-old says on Facebook?
Yeah. Some guy who's never ridden a sheep is going to start mouthing Shad Mayfield, But think about this
Right.
though: is that at a rodeo
Just
where Shad
checking that
Mayfield's there, if Shad Mayfield gets mouthed by a fan or by somebody at the rodeo, what's probably going to happen?
I mean, it depends, I guess, where it's at.
Correct.
I guess if he
But
goes
there's
to a
probably
store,
going to be some words exchanged, and things might get taken out behind the buck and shoots. I
could
think
be,
there's an etiquette in rodeo. And I think that's a
Yes.
little bit different than some of these other pro sports, which is why it would be hard to make that transition as fans and as
Right.
participants, because there
Right.
is that etiquette. I mean, I know that it's great even at my age when I work a performance and people come up and they say, "Hey, good job," or "Hey, thank you," or they offer to help. I mean, there's that gentleman type mentality that goes along with this sport, even though you go at it in the arena as contestants, but people are still there as one big family for the most part.
For the most part, but I do think, like I said, my whole deal is I think the athletes themselves are going to have to get, and it's not the athletes. I don't think the athletes really care. I mean, I think they do,
Yeah.
but I think they don't. I don't think
Yeah.
it's really that big of a deal.
Yeah.
These guys are so focused at what they're doing. I mean, you take Shad Mayfield or any of the other top 15 in the world in the tie down roping right now, or in the team roping, or in the steer wrestling. These guys, or in any of the rodeo events, I should say, the girls in the breakaway roping, they could go do anything. I really believe they could go do anything they wanted. And if they focused on it like they do rodeo, they would be just as successful in basketball or soccer or football or baseball, just as they are in rodeo. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I think if they got I think a lot of it is their mindset. And so I don't think they care about criticism. I really don't. It's just the
Yeah.
fans. And I'm like, man, it's criticism. It's no big deal. It's just let it go. I mean,
But we
doesn't
all know, though, it's going to be a lot easier for me to badmouth like a Shad Mayfield,
yeah.
okay, or a Jesse Pope, and get to them personally than a
Oh yeah.
Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah.
And
I mean,
that's the part, like in these growing pains, that's going to happen where these
it's gonna
fans
happen.
have access to these professional athletes.
Right. Right.
And that's something that, Patty Cake Mahomes doesn't have to deal with a whole lot because he has all of these other people who are
Yeah.
overshadowing everything else.
Yeah. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I've been critical of JB Mooney before. I don't think pro athletes should be glorified smoking cigarettes. I think it's, and I've said before, I'm like, I think it's stupid. I think here we are, we're people showing videos and thinking, oh man, that's cool. He's like the Marlboro man, and JB Mooney smoking cigarettes. I'm like, that's not the spokesman I want for Western sports. I'm sorry. I don't think we're supposed to be role models here. And I'm not trying to knock JB Mooney. I mean, heck, I guess if you can go ride bulls like he can go ride, smoke whatever the heck you want as long as it's legal. But I'm just saying, but when I was like, man, I don't think he should be smoking cigarettes. I don't think they ought to be putting him on the cover of magazines doing it. Well, my golly, you can't eat blah blah blah. Oh my God, I got raked, man. And it's like, it's criticism. You think JB Mooney cares that I think he shouldn't smoke cigarettes? He'll probably light one up and blow the smoke right in my face. He don't care. All he thinks about riding bulls, trying to win money.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, it just, and I'm just saying, and we'll get into that one, a whole nother story. That's a whole nother show. Talk about what rodeo and role models and what they should be doing for these young kids as well. And, I can tell you there ain't enough Tyson Durfees in the world. And I'll say that right now.
Mm-hmm.
And, but no, so move on from the criticism. Like I said, I think it's a good segue. You touched on it and we kind of talked about this a little bit. My God, did the rodeo judges at the National Finals Rodeo get, I mean, they were treated like they
Oh,
were pieces of dirt. Oh my
yeah,
gosh.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
I'm just saying, what in the I mean, how many of these guys that actually criticizing the judges ever went to a PRCA judging seminar? How many of them
yeah.
actually went to judge a rodeo? I know a few of them that were criticizing them that did judge a rodeo, and I'm like, okay. Was there some point discrepancies? Oh yeah, there was some point
Mhm.
discrepancies. But what
Yeah,
people don't realize either is, you can look at a bucking horse from 4 different angles and you can judge that bucking horse 4 different ways. So, I
correct.
mean, I'm not saying I'm condoning the judging or I'm approving of it or disapproving of it, but there are different views.
Yeah. And as long as these guys were consistent, that's the most important thing, right? If you're going to
Right.
be bad, be consistently bad.
And
So, but people were all over social media,
yeah,
bashing these judges, and in the human error, that's what makes the judging so much fun. Is
right.
there is that human error in there, and a lot of
Right.
sports now are moving towards the video, replays and changing overruling calls and stuff. And I
Yeah,
hope that the rodeo business does not go to anything like that, and they keep it with the judges and let them do their own thing. So who cares? There's some discrepancies, yeah, but you know what? Maybe this guy looks at stuff totally different. And like you were talking about, every angle's different. I mean, I saw one of those judges almost got smoked by a bucking horse because he was trying to get a good angle.
right. They try
So
to see. There's like 6 or 8 different. I have to go look at my book again, but there's like 6 or 8 different criteria that they judge a bareback and a saddle bronc ride and a bull ride on, and
mhm,
that's how they judge all that stuff. And they have rules, and that where they don't really have rules. They have guidelines, I should say, on how they do it, and they're very
yeah,
strict that guide their guidelines. And the main thing that they try to do is make sure that the best person wins and that the person ends up
mhm,
the way it is. Pam Smith said human error isn't her kind of fun, and I completely I completely agree. It's not fun. It's just
no,
reality. It does happen. And another thing I say, and it's not just the rough stock. I mean, they got raked over the coals in the team roping as
yeah,
well.
they did, yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
oh my gosh, when Paul Eves got flagged out for crossfire, it was I went to bed that night and I woke up the next morning and here we go.
yeah,
It's like
yeah,
and I actually I missed the call.
mhm,
And I did not see it. But I went and watched a video of it in the past. I think it was close. Any crossfire call is going to be close in the team roping. In the PRCA, the rule states, and someone will probably correct me because I'll probably misword it just a little bit. But in the PRCA, the rule states that the steer must complete the switch when the header ropes them. The steer must complete the switch. They must turn direction completely before the heeler can throw the loop. Well, if you go by the video and you slow it down, not stop it, so
mhm,
I personally don't think you can check a crossfire on a picture. People are showing pictures, and I'm like, I don't think you can call a crossfire on a picture. I
yeah,
really don't.
yeah,
And I'm not trying to toot my own horn or anything, but I'll be honest with you. Until I went to that PRCA judging seminar a couple months ago, I wouldn't have known what a crossfire was in the
yeah,
PRCA. And I can tell you right now, you sure as heck, I don't want to flag the team roping at all.
yeah,
If you see
yeah.
me flag the team rope at the judging seminar, by golly, be happy I'm a rodeo announcer, not a flag judge. But but
But but these guys don't get to watch it in slow mo either, and that's the thing,
no, they don't.
is that you're on the
They
biggest rodeo stage, and the thing, kind of going back, to the human error at that level, those judges, they take this stuff pretty dang serious. So there's a game within the game. So
They're
the
full of
contestants are competing, the animals are competing, but these judges are competing too. And if anyone thought that these judges weren't kind of paying attention to some of the criticism, they're crazy
yeah.
because umpires, referees, officials, judges, they all absorb that
They
stuff
know
because
it's
why?
there. They
Because yeah,
guarantee
they're all over it.
I guarantee you I guarantee you they knew the criticism was there. And
Yes.
it's like Bobby Bradley just as Jackie Crawford. She You there? I kind of lost you for a
Yeah, you're
second.
kind of freezing on me.
Uh-oh. Okay, let me move
There you go. There you go.
But yeah, Jackie Crawford. Yeah, Jackie Crawford. She called her own deal. She's like, she said, "Hey, It's not a legal catch. I think the WPRA, I think they got a bell collar catch rule, and it wasn't a bell collar catch. And honestly, that's easy to miss. That's why they got to have spotters at the rodeos to even have to see it, because you can miss it. And but yeah, I mean, things happen. I hate that they happen. We don't like that they happen, but they happen.
No.
And I
Yeah.
mean, I'm like you. I'm not a proponent of replay. I guess I'm not opposed to a review if you got the camera angles to do it right at the big rodeos like Houston,
Mhm.
the NFR, the American. They have the sky cams and all that stuff. You can get all different kind of views at these big rodeos now. I'm not opposed to review. I don't think they should get a rerun. I think what they should probably get, if you got it on tape, the timer should stop the time when the flag drops. Then then they should get a no time. Then if it's reviewed, they should be able to go back and review it. And they think it is a time, then they should just give them the time that they had. I don't think necessarily they should get a rerun. Same goes in the bucking horses. If you think they should get if you thought they missed them out, I mean, I don't know. They probably ought to score them, then give them a no score for a mark out. Then if they think they should challenge it, they go and review it and they get their score that they had. I don't think they should necessarily get a rewrite. I don't think it should be instant replay like in football. I think no matter, I think you can overturn a call maybe by replay, but review, but I don't think it should be done during the rodeo. I think it ought to be done afterwards. I don't think rodeo is the kind of sport you can go and hold up the process of the production.
Well, I think there's a difference too between if you've ever operated a stopwatch, you and I both could do the exact same time, and we're going to have split second differences. No, 9 out of 10 times, guarantee it. Right. But when so if we wanted to start the clock in slow mo and get the exact time, the guy made 8, okay, different story. But if you're going to replay it to rejudge a cowboy's performance while he's riding a rough stock event or the way the animal performed, I'm not for that. I like the human error involved in that, and I like that part of the sport.
Exactly. And at the end of the day, these judges, they're paid to give an opinion.
Yeah,
I mean,
they are.
And that's one of the things they stressed at the judging seminar I went to was the judges are paid to give an opinion at the end of the day, to give an opinion of who they think was the right person to win. And that's the main thing that they want. I mean, I'm not going to say that they're out there playing favorites, because I'm not going to say that, when Casey Field in round 10 of the national finals, when he got that reride on Junior Bonner, which I knew, I mean, I hate to say it, I knew it right then. He was going to be a buttload of points. I mean, that's a bucking horse. It's a really good horse, and it's Casey Field. I mean,
correct. It's the same thing. Stetson Wright hops on a bull, and the judges hear his name announced. Okay, or they hear that specific bull's name announced. Are they not going to they're subjective, not going to be kind of in the favor of Stetson Wright or that particular bull? And that's the part, if we left the names out of it, now we got a totally more neutral, even playing field here. But that's, once again, you can't do that. I've often wondered that too. Because if I give Stetson Wright an 82 on a ride, is he going to be pissed? Probably so, because he's riding bulls that should be maybe above 82 on average. So, yeah.
I mean, is I better not move my phone. I about forgot there. We'll be losing internet again. But that's what I'm getting at is, it's like, no, it's gonna happen. I hate to say that it happens. We don't like to admit it, but I mean, it is kind of one of them deals that it does happen. I mean, if Jess Pope has Junior Bonner, I mean, heck, the announcers on TV, they didn't even hardly know who Jess Pope was until the National Finals Rodeo. I mean, he was kind. I mean, we all knew who he was, and anybody in rodeo knew who Jess Pope was. But I mean, Jess Pope's name don't carry the same weight as Casey Fields. And
not yet.
It doesn't yet. I'm gonna say, now that he's got that average gold belt buckle on his waist, and Angel and Sean Bebout, they make a good point. Tim got hosed in their opinion, and like he said, he's not a judge, and none of us are judges. I don't necessarily disagree with that. I mean, if Tim O'Connell had Junior Bonner in the re-ride, you could arguably say that if Casey Fields had Junior Bonner during the bareback ride, he might not have got scored the way he did. He was featured.
Yeah.
I mean, he was the only guy they seen, we finished up the bareback ride and they went and Bulldog steers and team rope. We come back to the Bronx and here, we got Casey Fields and this is like a marquee heavyweight, boxing matchup. So you're going to see a completely different view of it, especially when he's by himself. I think it was my dad. We might have been talking. He said, well, if they'd have bucked that horse during the bareback riding, the re-ride, instead of during the bronc riding, he probably wouldn't have been that many points, or may not have been, So, because I think the horse weakened a little at the end. I mean, and nothing against the nice folks at Smith Pro Rodeos. Junior Bonner's awesome horse, but that building was really hot. You could probably see it on TV. With them horses, the way they were sweating, and when we were there that night, it was really warm in there. So I mean, I think it does. I think that stuff does make an effect on your rough stock to a point. I don't care. They're animals, So, but so I mean, there's a lot of variables that go into it, and I thought Tim made a better ride than Casey did in round 10 myself. I mean, I don't know. It was I thought the top three finished in the round finished in the right spots in the round, or they should have been in the top three. The argument comes into which one should be where. I mean, I thought Jess Pope made a nice ride. Then Tim O'Connell made a nice ride. I mean, that was probably the best round of bareback riding you could ever imagine to have for a 10th round of a rodeo. I mean, it was almost like Hollywood, I mean.
Yes.
So
they gave it their all, man. They were just out there grinding. Their body's got to be sore and tired, and here they are.
And that bucking horses.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, that round 10 pin of horses, I mean, other than the one that Casey Fields got a re-ride, excuse me, other than that one, but and like Corey Grayson said, you can go back across all 10 rounds. They were all good. I mean, that's why I'm not saying that it's not fair to judge to judge the judges, but they're like you said, they're doing their job. They're doing the best they can. And when you get that many guys, it's easy to go judge a rodeo when you got one guy that can spur a bucking horse.
Absolutely.
And go out and put a 22-point ride on, and the rest of them going to go spur one for 15 and flop around and hang outside and maybe go to the D's and sit on. They're going to score 68 points on a 15-point horse on a 20, on an 18-point ride or whatever, and then you get one guy that does go spur one for 17 or 18. And, I understand. I mean, when you get to a smaller rodeo, it's a lot easier, but boy, when you get 15 guys against 15 top horses, I mean, it's tough. It's really tough.
Yeah.
And everything. So, so it's a tough deal. I think judges, I think they get a raw deal, but it's just like any officials in any pro sport. And I think, I was watching a Chiefs game last week and there was a call they made and I thought that was the Tyreek Hill catch last week. You remember that? I mean, they missed that. Everybody missed that. I missed that.
Correct.
Yeah, we're not seeing people saying they shouldn't be there. The refs. I mean, the refs should have seen that. I mean,
exactly.
But
people were wanting.
I mean, older people might be saying that. It's they had come back, Tex.
You are. Yeah. That's the thing is like people were like railing on these officials. They have no business being there. How do they get to the NFR? This is ridiculous. There's too many point discrepancies. They were just going off. Well, these guys just don't like work one rodeo a year and then get selected for the NFR. These are some of the best officials in the world. So
they're full-time employed. They're employed by the PRCA. They're employees. Yeah.
Correct. I mean, they put a lot of miles on, go to a lot of trainings, and sometimes you're humans. They have a bad night. It just happens that way. But like you hit on earlier, but when you're at the NFR, there's so much pressure put on like the officials and the contestants and, and the stock contractors, everybody that's involved in this. So you've got the hype of that going on in the back of your mind. You've got the animal that comes out. Nothing is going to be predictable with the cowboy, cowgirl, or the animals that are involved in it. And you got to put all this together in slow motion in your mind and come out really quick, just like that, with a number.
Right.
So we can't say, hey, look, I'll come back in 5 minutes and give you a score. Oh, yeah, 24 or 15. Right. No, you can't do that. You got to do it pretty quick here.
When we were at that seminar, I was like, oh my gosh, these guys got to come up with this crap quick. It's when I'm announcing a rodeo, you're waiting on scores. It seems like it takes forever, but really, you got to come up with it fast.
I have a hard enough time figuring out this number system that they do.
Right. Well, in pro rodeo, they don't have to do all that. They got little Palm Pilots,
nice.
Yeah, just little electronic device. That's how they send in the scores.
Maybe we should get a Palm Pilot for some rodeos in 2021, where I can message you during the rodeo from the dirt.
We got our cell phones. I mean, I don't know. You probably got like a flip phone or something, but Yeah,
I got a flip phone. It's one of those track phones. I put $10 on it every month. So get me early in the month if you want to talk.
Still do the T9 texting,
Yeah.
And all. So, but yeah. So no, I mean, I think it's kind of good that people talk about it. I think it's good that people are. I just it's at the end of the day, it is a sport. It is a game. And it's a living to the people playing the game. And, I mean, it's just like the Tyreek Hill non-catch last week. I mean, only the people probably really mad about that were the fantasy people that had him on his fantasy team.
Absolutely. Yes.
So, so I understand. And, and with like pro fantasy rodeo, they have all that too. I mean, there's a lot involved in it. So I touched on it last week in my little live video that I did here to try the studio out and everything. What was your impression of having the National Finals Rodeo in Texas?
You know what? I wanted to go. I wasn't able to go down there. Living in Texas for about a year, I was excited about that alternative site. If they couldn't go to Vegas, I was like, what better place than to put it right there in the Dallas-Fort Worth area? And I consider Arlington part of that whole mess right there, because it all just kind of, there's no boundary. It's just one big blur.
Yes.
I think from what I heard from feedback is that, one, it sucked paying for parking, trying to find parking. It was spread out way too much. People couldn't just kind of go from place to place, easily. I think too, the location wasn't good. I mean, put it in Fort Worth, put it right there in Fort Worth. Go with the stockyards. It's in a baseball park, and I've been in that park. Beautiful facility. Don't get me wrong. I mean, that facility is really nice. I don't know why they thought they needed a new one, but they did. But I don't know. I think they missed the boat with not having it in Fort Worth. I don't think they'll go back to Texas. It seems like everybody is ecstatic about going back to Vegas. There's so many perks about Vegas. You've been to both of them now. You can attest to it better than I can, but I think it's going back to Vegas.
Well, I mean, it's got to go back to Vegas till 2025 because they got a contract with Las Vegas to do it. The ballpark, actually, I thought the arena was kind of cool myself.
Okay.
If I was setting the arena up, and I do have I personally have a PhD, a panel handling degree, so I consider myself an expert in arena setups. And if anybody wants to argue that with me, then come travel with me for a summer and we'll talk about it after that. But anyhow, I didn't like the shape of the arena. I didn't like them fences coming in off of the boxes. I don't think it hurts anything on the rough stock, but I think it sucks for the team roping and the bulldogging. And I don't know if you got to watch any of the highlights of the team roping, but something that I saw was the team ropers would end up in the buck and shoots. Well, that's partly because of that. And I don't know if I told you this, but I mentioned to a few different people. I'm like, them team ropers, the way they turn out of there, them steers, they're going to be coming left. You're going to be coming back around because the way that fence kind of angles and you're coming out at an angle. I didn't like that. Bobby Bradley does have a PhD in panel loading, and Angel and Sean Bebout, they said the sound sucked. I didn't think the sound was that bad, but I might have had a few drinks in me when I was watching the rodeo. So I'll be honest with you, that was once Thursday was over at the convention, I was on vacation. So don't. And whatever happened Thursday night, just don't judge. So, anyways, go back to what I was talking about. I didn't, like I said, I didn't like the layout of the arena myself. The ballpark deal didn't bother me. I didn't particularly care being able to see all the back pins and people warming their horses up behind the arena. That was all right in the open. I didn't really like that. I kind of like the fact that, like, at Thomas and Mack and everything, that you can come, when you see what you see in the arena is just the rodeo. That's it. And there at Globe Life, you could see everything. And I didn't particularly care for that. Some people really might like that. I didn't, but I see the stuff behind all the time. I grew up, I've been around it for 21 years now. And then as a contestant before that. So, I don't, that stuff, that part, I didn't really like that. But yeah, I just didn't like the shape of the arena. I think, well, I know why they did it in Globe Life, because that was the only place they could sell enough seats to still do the rodeo and have people spread out with social distancing.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't remember how big Dickey's Arena is, but I do not think it's as big as Thomas and Mack. I think it is smaller than Thomas and Mack.
I think so too.
That's the only other place that they could do it in Fort Worth. Otherwise they'd have to do it in Dallas, the American Airlines Arena, which I do think the location is better in Arlington than Dallas. But this is how I described it to people. Hypothetically speaking, let's say they moved the National Finals Rodeo to Kansas City. It will never happen, by the way, but Kansas Cityans would like it. You're familiar with Kansas City.
Absolutely.
Grew up there. I imagine, let's say they put the rolling roof over Kaufman and Arrowhead, and they had the roof over Kaufman. Okay, we got to move the National Finals Rodeo. It's coming to Kauffman Stadium. We're going to do the National Finals, the new American Royals built out by the Speedway. So, and the Legends. So we're going to have all kinds of activities at the Speedway and the Legends and the new American Royal. Then we're going to have Cowboy Christmas at Bartle Hall. And that's where all the PRCA convention stuff's going to be at Bartle Hall. And then you're going to have the National Finals Rodeo at Kaufman. Kaufman to the Legends is 22 miles is what I looked it up. So if you're from Kansas City, it wouldn't make sense.
Correct.
And that's what I didn't like about Fort Worth. I think no, it's cool. I'd like to go to Fort Worth when I'm on a vacation, if I actually took vacations, but that was my deal with it. And like you said, the parking and like I said, I'm not gonna rehash what I said last week too much. And I don't want to make it sound like complaining. I think it was great what Texas did. And it was centrally located for more people. I love the locate. I actually, for the finals itself, I like where it's at. I liked it. It's not Vegas. It's not Vegas.
Yeah. I think it's great Texas stepped in and they put something together so that way the NFR could take place. My hat's off to them for that, definitely. But I think going to Cowtown would have been a great deal there in Fort Worth. But like you said, with the crowds, physical distancing, it makes sense why Globe Life had to be used. It's just the angle of the arena, like you mentioned, kind of the pins, the foul poles. I got left and right field foul poles in the middle of a freaking rodeo. And it's like, and then I looked at the seating too, in the seating, in that particular park, it's really good seating. But, you go to a smaller arena, you're right there. It's very intimate. And that's another thing too I love about rodeo and going and watching rodeos. You're part of the action. You're right there. Almost you're sniffing dirt and getting mud thrown on you.
Right.
So,
I got a feeling after this, because that was a big arena. It was really big.
Yeah.
I do think there's going to be people that are going to say, hey man, it'd be cool to have it in a big building. Allegiant Stadium's in Las Vegas, where the Raiders play. They said they will never have the rodeo there. Vegas did. Money talks.
Correct. Everything's got a price tag.
If they could sell 40,000 tickets a night, if they thought they could sell 40,000 tickets a night and sell the suites out
for 10 nights,
stadium, I don't think they'll mind putting the Raiders on the road for a couple weeks.
Correct.
I mean, and that was what I read because I looked into it, and because I not looked into it, but I just I wanted to do a little reading on Allegiant Stadium. I love stadiums. I think stadiums are cool. I do a
Mhm.
lot. I like looking at the old stadiums on the internet. I look them all up and stuff. So I'm kind of a nerd like that. Anyhow, so I was looking up Allegiant Stadium, and I just typed in Google search it, Allegiant Stadium National Finals Rodeo, see what comes up. Because I mean, I'm not going to say it ain't out of the question they try to do a rodeo there one day.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
they do want it. They do one in Dallas at Jerry World. So at AT&T, with the American, and they've done the PBR. I mean, what's to stop them from doing a rodeo at Allegiant Stadium?
absolutely.
And they said, well, the Raiders, that would be right in the middle of the playoff run for the or possible playoff run at the Raiders. They don't want to be out of town for. Well, the Chiefs went out of. They've been on the road for 2 weeks straight now. I mean,
Hmm.
that's not going to. I mean, I'm telling you, money talks. And
Hmm.
if the money and that might be something we see in 5 years, once Vegas might have to compete with Dallas Fort Worth for the finals. That's something that's going to be coming into account. I'm telling you, Vegas don't want
Yeah,
to lose the national finals rodeo. They didn't want
no,
to
they
lose it
don't.
this year. They did not want to. It was not Las Vegas's fault they didn't have the finals. It was Clark County and it was Nevada.
Yeah,
That was why they lost the finals. If it wasn't for that, I mean, heck, the Vegas mayor back in June was like telling the governor, "You need to open up."
yeah,
She didn't.
yeah.
I mean, so I mean, she was banging the drum. I mean, I don't know what
Mhm.
dirty casino money got her elected, but I'd say it was some of it. I mean, call it what it is.
Absolutely.
Call it what it is. Um, well, before we wrap up tonight, I mean, heck, we've already been on here an hour.
I know it's been great. It's been great.
Has been great. Any plans for Christmas?
You know what? I'm gonna kind of stay a little local here. The pandemic and everything, just kind of taking it easy, and we're waiting for old Saint Nick to come down the chimney. And you?
Well, I'm going to work all week. I'm going to get back in the old truck and
Yeah,
keep on hauling grain and come up with ideas to talk about on our next show. And
yeah,
are you busy Sunday? I know we're kind of planning on the fly here, but do you want to come back on
yeah.
next Sunday?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think next Sunday will work for me.
I
Yeah,
think it work for
I'll
me too.
talk to my receptionist.
Right. Okay. And talk you people talk to my people. We'll be good.
Yeah.
Um, what'd you think of the Chiefs game this week today?
Oh, buddy. I was on cruise control, and then old Drew Brees, he starts coming back out of nowhere, and I started to get a little bit nervous, but I knew old Patty Cakes had it under control. So, man, oh man, that
Have you
guy.
have you ever seen a team, not just a quarterback, a team that has a light switch like the Chiefs?
Well, I think I say yes and no. I mean, you look at some of the New England Patriot teams, as much as
Right.
people hate the Patriots,
Right.
those guys, how many times was Tom Brady and Edelman and those guys out of the game, and they come back and won it, under 2 minutes?
Well,
So I think that light switch you talk of, yeah, we saw a lot of that. But I'll tell you what, this light switch that we've got now, this is a new improved one from Home Depot here. This one right here is the this
this is
one's pretty special.
this is like the light switch with Google Assistant on it.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. Hey Siri, what do you got going on? I mean,
Right.
just the
Right.
play calling. I mean, I was talking this last week. I was like, okay, is Andy Reid, okay, is it the coach or is it the players? And I think the answer is both. But you look at how many great coaches have these ideas and these plays they draw up, but they're not able to carry it through because the players don't have the talent. We
Right.
have got the talent. I mean, we're throwing to, 5, 6 different guys a game. I mean, it's
Right.
insane. So cover up Tyreek Hill, cover up Kelsey. It doesn't matter. We got other guys we'll throw to.
You got Mecole Hardman and Sammy Watkins, who could be a 1 and 2 on any other team.
Absolutely.
And and
Absolutely.
and what's the other one? Robinson? Is that the other
The Robinson.
receiver? Yeah. And then I think Byron Pringle's coming back at some point. I mean, yeah, I mean,
I guess can,
yeah,
can we keep them though? That's the thing is, can we keep them? We've got a great thing going on. We've got
yeah.
good chemistry. It's been nice. I watching the transition with Travis Kelsey.
Right.
He has grown up a ton since Mahomes took over. When Alex Smith was here, he was nothing but a crybaby because he wasn't getting the touches that he wanted.
Right.
And now he's getting fed every game by Mahomes,
Yeah.
and he's been a joy to watch.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely. I mean, and I think Mahomes makes players better. I'll be honest with you.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah.
you know, I
Well,
think he makes
shoot,
players, I
as
mean, makes
as
players
a
better.
receiver, all you got to do is go like this,
Yeah. All you gotta do
and he
is,
puts it right there.
you know, I mean, because you know, honestly, Alex Smith pretty much had the same cast of characters
Mhm.
as Mahomes did, and they didn't make an AFC Championship game, and they didn't make a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
mean,
and Alex had a different style of play too.
right?
You
He
know,
did.
and what Mahomes has going on, the fans love it. I mean, NFL loves it. I mean, you heard him talking about Drew Brees' kids. Patrick Mahomes is one of their favorite players. How cool is that? Your dad's
Right.
Drew Brees, and you're wanting an autograph from.
Right. Right.
So,
I did. I heard that today and I thought, oh my gosh, you know, that's crazy. You know, so Chiefs, they win today, 32-29. Again, another one possession game. I did not see Ty Stewart's asking right now. Uh-oh, my phone tablet's going off. It would we cut Demarcus Robinson?
what do we get in exchange?
Well, would we cut him? I guess. I don't know. Why would we need to cut Demarcus Robinson?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, what would it benefit if we
Yeah.
did? Like, what are we going to get out of it? We get more
Yeah.
bank account. We get another
Did he
guy.
do something today? Did he drop a pass or something? I wasn't sure.
I don't recall. I didn't pay that close attention to him.
Right, I didn't either. I actually only watched about half the game. I followed it just because I got Travis Kelce on my fantasy team,
Yeah.
playing for the title. I'm playing for a fantasy title, not in Maverick Griffin's league, but I'm playing the constellation game in that league. But in the other league, I am playing for the title in the league with my friends from high school.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Well, I'll be honest. When we were on cruise control, I might have took a couple snoozes there at the end of the first quarter. So
heck, my grandpa was watching the game and he's like, "Man, I kept falling asleep a little bit there,
Yeah.
watching the game." 'Cause I went up and
well,
seen him.
the expectation is we're going to win. So I mean, it's such a great feeling to be on this end of it.
Right.
Going back to New England, a lot of Patriots fans. I've had this for years. And it was the first time since 2008 the New England Patriots haven't been in the playoffs.
Right.
So it's like hopefully we've got this thing going. Hopefully we go back to the Super Bowl, win our second in a row. I'm all pumped up, man.
That was the Matt Castle year that the Matt Castle I remember that game when that was the game that Bernard Pollard rolled into Tom Brady and blew his knee out, and Brady was out for the year. Isn't that crazy? I remember it. I remember it plain as day. Brody Croyle was starting quarterback for the Chiefs that day. And they did not win, because they never won a game with Brody Croyle. I don't think it might have been Damon Heward, actually. That might have been Damon Heward at quarterback. But that was the game. That was actually the game that brought us Scott Pioli, Matt Castle, and a cluster of four, and Todd Haley the next year.
Oh, geez. Yeah. Wow. Those are the days.
Yeah. So that's what happened the last time the New England did not make the playoffs. And thank the Lord that will not happen again to us anyways. Somebody.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I was trying to see who did Chiefs play next week. I haven't even, I was looking for the schedule here. And
I didn't even look that far. I take it one game at a time. I haven't even got to the next game yet.
And I'm just, I'm excited as heck. And speaking of apps and everything, I'm really disappointed in the NFL app. On my tablet here, I don't think it's a very good app. And because I was wanting to try to kind of get the schedule. I mean, I just want the schedule, and it won't give me the schedule. ESPN's CBS. I like CBS Sports actually. And
with the Falcons, we play the Falcons next weekend.
Oh, so that's right, because they said
high noon.
Next week's game really don't matter.
No. The week after that's the Chargers.
Right. That game's going to matter, unless Pittsburgh loses.
Correct.
And not to toot my own horn, but I'm going to toot my own horn. I said that Washington could beat the Steelers, and I was right.
You were correct. You were correct, buddy.
I sent that in a Marco Polo to you.
You did.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
You called it in advance.
Yes, I did call it, and I'm really upset at the Falcons today because they did not give Todd Gurley the ball, and I had to like go pick him up off the waiver wire last minute after Zeke Elliott was set for injury. So,
Oh man.
um, Zeke Elliott, by the way, is the next member of the Charlie McKellips first round draft pick curse of fantasy football. So, last year it was Mahomes and he got hurt and dislocated his kneecap. This year it was Zeke Elliott,
Yep.
and Zeke Elliott looks like he's ate as many cheeseburgers as I have. I think that's what he meant when he says "feed me more," because um, oh, and back to Demarcus Robinson, I guess he fumbled a punt return, lost 14 yards running backwards trying to run the other side of the field, and which I mean, I can't blame the guy for that because I mean, if you're going to get on someone about that, heck, Pat Mahomes last week gave up a 35-yard sack that was
Yeah,
not
he did.
and I mean, I don't know. Demarcus Robinson's won some games for the Chiefs, so that's kind of. I mean, that's just my opinion. You know, I mean, I feel like they I don't know if that's really fair to the to Demarcus Robinson. I mean, he had a bad game. You know,
Hmm.
don't agree with it. Don't think it's good, but I mean, McCole Hardman and Sammy Watkins are better. I mean, he's your number 4 receiver. I mean, wide receiver. That's not counting tight end. So
Yeah.
it's kind of
Yeah. If we get some cash for him to get an even better receiver, then yeah, different story. But
Yeah.
I'm gonna kind of stick with him a couple more, for a little bit longer here and see what he can do.
I mean, he's not
But
going to be.
I like the way Ty's thinking. Ty's trying to make the organization better. I'm with him
Yeah,
on this.
yeah. I mean, I understand he had a bad game. We do need to, but I think Demarcus Robinson's actually a free agent after the end of the year. So
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he just signed a 1-year contract. I don't have that right in front of me right now, but yeah, I don't. I mean, like I said, because I mean, heck, he's probably under Hardman and Watkins and Hill, so he's the number 4 receiver. And to tell you the truth, he's probably going to get a pretty good check from the next team he goes to, because Chiefs can't afford to pay him next year.
Correct.
I mean, he's probably going to go to one of these teams like Houston or Miami that needs a little bit of wide receiver help. I mean, it seems like Miami always takes Chiefs receivers that they don't keep. And I mean, I'd say I could see him going to Houston, Miami, Detroit, one of them teams that, could use a little help on the receiving end. And I mean, Demarcus Robinson's definitely going to be a casualty. But I think Brett Veach has shown one thing: he can draft receivers.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I'm not too worried about it. I mean, look at Brady. Brady never had a number 1 receiver.
Yeah.
I mean, but they were good.
Absolutely.
I mean, yeah, Gronk. I mean, which I think Kelsey's better than Gronk.
Yeah, and then Edelman, he was like an annoying gnat, man. He never went away. That guy was all over the place.
Yeah, and I tell you, Watkins kind of fills that Edelman role for the Chiefs, I notice.
Yeah, I love Sammy. Love him to death.
And that's the one probably going to be gone next year too. I mean, so we'll have, but we'll have Hardman, and then I'd say Pringle will be here next year. I'd say, and then I'm sure they're going to draft some guys. I think actually, if anything, Chiefs need a running back. I really think they need another running back. I don't think Clyde's the answer. I think he's complimentary, but I don't. I just that's kind of my biggest worry going into the year. We need a little help on that line. We hopefully, when the doctor comes back from COVID next year from working on the front lines, he'll be back there at right tackle, and we kind of can get back to because you mentioned in the past to me privately that you thought that Patrick Mahomes a little off, that he's not as sharp, and I think he gets rushed a lot more myself.
Yeah, and that could be because it seems like not that he's doing a bad job, okay, and not that I could do any better. Right. Speaking of that whole professional, athlete critiquing, right? But there's just sometimes that he has been rushed, and he hasn't been as crisp as what we've seen him in the past.
Right.
And like you and I had talked, before, how much of that could be because of COVID and getting reps, and and the list goes on and on. Right. But there for a while, there's a couple games, about a 3-game stretch this year, where he just wasn't as crisp, and he wasn't putting it on a dot like he's capable of doing. No. But then he comes out today, and he makes that throw in the end zone out of nowhere.
Even the
Oh, but
cameraman thought it was freaking incomplete.
yeah. And because of the cameraman, I thought it was incomplete until I saw the touchdown thing scroll across the bottom. I was like, oh my God, that was a great catch. It was a great throw. Yeah. Unbelievable.
Did you so I mean, like I said, we got the Atlanta Falcons next week, and short, the only ones going to care about that game are the people that have fantasy football team players in it. And quite frankly,
Right.
I'm hoping that Andy Reid decides to set Patrick Mahomes next week. That's
what I was going to ask you. Do you sit patty cakes or do you play him?
I on my fantasy team wise, I hope they set him, because that's who the person I'm playing in the fantasy league against has Pat Mahomes, and next week, we crown the champion next week.
Yeah.
I hope they set him. No,
yeah.
I don't want him to play Pat Mahomes next week. Now, as a Chiefs fan, I want him to play him, because I want the Chiefs to get. I think they need every win they can get. I think it's all going to matter in the end when it comes to Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
With Pittsburgh, I think have they already played? They play Cincinnati tomorrow, so they're going to win. So the Chiefs got to have that number 1 seed. But I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think that number 1 seed make a big difference having that bye. I don't like this. I don't like having one team having the bye. I think they all should have to play opening weekend if they're gonna do it. I think the one
I agree.
I don't know. Maybe I mean, that's kind of, I don't know. I just don't like one team in each conference having it. Did you see Charlie Woods hitting the golf ball better than about anybody that I've ever seen before?
Oh my gosh. Oh, yes. And that's how Tiger was as a kid. He was.
Yeah, I remember seeing the videos of him, I mean, I remember when Tiger Woods came out. It's
so cool. Nuts. It's so cool. It's so cool.
I challenged Charlie Woods to get in a pitch shot contest with me at Topgolf, though. I mean, yeah, he might whip me in the long drive. He hit 175 yards with a 5-wood. It's ridiculous.
Oh, yeah. It's just crazy, man. And he's so serious.
Oh, just like Tiger. I've never seen Tiger Woods smile like that.
Yeah.
That made me happy.
And that's and that's the thing is Tiger said too, I think you saw maybe, he just wants his son to have fun. That's it.
Right.
Just have fun.
Right.
Well, I'm thinking you can't have fun playing golf if your dad's Tiger Woods. Come on. There's no fun to that.
When he did that little arm thing today, when he sunk that putt, I was like, oh my gosh. I wanted to go watch it. I became a bigger golf fan today because of Charlie and Tiger Woods.
Absolutely.
I mean,
yeah. And when he was squatted down, kind of looking at the angles of the grass, it was an exact replica of his dad.
I mean, the dude's 11 years old. 11. And he hit a ball 175 yards. I can't go out here with the 3-wood and hit 175 yards.
Yeah. Well, you have to show what one, genetics does to somebody, and number 2, proper mechanics.
Right.
I mean,
right.
And I guarantee he doesn't have a cheap set of golf clubs from Bass Pro Shops.
No, he didn't go buy them from Walmart. I can tell you that right now.
No, those suckers are juiced.
Right. Those things, I tell you, and I think that's something we might want to talk about next week. I think I want to compare rodeo to kind of other sports a little bit.
Let's do it.
Because and that's something I think we'll talk about next week. We'll kind of, and I think we'll segue into this now, I guess, and compare. I want to kind of compare rodeo because I hear a lot of times people talk about rodeo wanting to be mainstream sport, but they always compare it to these other sports. So next week, that's what we're going to talk about. I think I'd like to touch on the breakaway roping a little bit next week.
Let's do it.
I think with breakaway roping and the national finals, breakaway roping in conjunction with the national finals, and I kind of like to get on a rant about that because I thought it was great, but I think it ought to be all 10 nights. And
all right, let's do it.
And a lot more. We'll kind of know where the Chiefs sit in the playoffs next week, and we'll talk about that, and maybe hopefully we'll get it where we would have phone calls calling in.